Wanna talk? So let's talk. Yeah. Talk. You wanna talk? You gotta talk, you need to talk. News talk.
I talk, you talk to Solomon. I talk, you talk to Solomon. Yeah, let's talk to Solomon. Talk to Solomon.
You gotta talk, you wanna talk.
Welcome back to Talk to Solomon. That's me, Stan Solomon. I'm the host.
I'm Chief Steve Davis, in-studio co-host.
And our guest of honor, Major General Jerry Curry, U.S. Army retired. General, we are told that American pilots practiced for nuclear strikes on North Korean targets in an exercise they did with South Korea. I want to say it's about time. I want to say I'm tired of seeing that two-bit country with its two-bit tin pot dictator number 3 in a line of morons, torturing their own people, messing with the world, living high on the hog while their people literally starve to death, and feeling like there's nothing we can do. Why don't we just take them out?
I'm not sure we want to take them out, but what you say is absolutely 100% true, which is, listen, that little bitty country isn't worth anything. And we could handle them any day, night or day, 7 days a week. And why, excuse me, I'm sorry. And why it is we pretend that they are somebody we pay attention to, I have no idea. I doubt very seriously whether they have an atomic weapon. That is, they've gone through the process of making one, but I'm not sure they really have something functional. They certainly don't have a missile that's capable of sending it to the United States. And we ought to just tell them that, tell them again and say, listen, guys, you shoot one of those missiles over here and we'll take it and ram it down your throat.
I think we should ram it down their throat and, like the Japanese, tell them after the fact. What do you think?
That's not a bad idea.
I mean, send we don't need nukes, but send sufficient ordnance to destroy what little infrastructure they have, what little military they have, with their hatchets and mean faces. Just wipe out, a couple thousand or 30,000 or 100,000 of them and say, oh, what was it you had to say? I see. Next time, don't say it.
Well, I'm not one for really doing that to them, but I got to tell you, I wouldn't take any foolishness off of them at all. And I have no trouble with drawing a line, and that's the line, guys. And you cross it, you're in deep trouble and deep kimchi. And if they cross the line, the answer is we go and take out 3 or 4 or 5 of their installations, a half a dozen of their ships. What little things they have for Air Force. Take that.
I couldn't agree more. Chief?
First thing is, I'm sure that our pilots practice nuclear bombing raids all over the world. They've just announced this because of the tensions going on in Korea right now, but I'm sure our pilots even practice raids on North America in case we're overrun by an enemy of some kind. That's probably nothing new, but it's usually secret. But what I'd like to remind us of is that history says in the past, we were in a Korean War once before, and guess what? We had a general named Douglas MacArthur that took all of Korea. He had all of Korea freed, and even was in China and called back and said, hey, by the way, I'm in China and they're throwing rocks and sticks at us. If you want, I can make China a free country too. And he was called back by a politician, and the politicians then decided to give back half of Korea to the communists, even though our military soldiers who were there and had given their lives for all of that land, they gave it back to the communists because of a political decision. So that liberal president who was involved in that is responsible for all the tension today. Korea should all be free. We shouldn't have any trouble there now because our soldiers were there once. They fought the battle. They won the battle. It should all be free, but politicians gave it back, and that's why we're in this mess again today.
Can I just salute? What do you think, General? We just lost the General? Oh, that's a shame. Well, we'll try and get him back here in just a second. But I am 100% in agreement with that. The RNC, somebody must have, taken away their martinis. They just woke up. and they made the decision that they ought to have some input into the moderators on the debates. Well,
Yeah, it's about time. Hello.
why would they have these leftist losers being the moderators? It's just stupid. It's stupid. I think we have the general back now or not.
Yeah, I just came back.
Okay, General, glad to have you back. We just started the topic of the Republicans are now saying they want some say in who the moderators are when they have the debates, either during the primaries or during the general election. Well, that reminds me of our dealings with North Korea. Why in the heck, if you're dealing with an enemy, would you let them pick the time, place, and the degree of severity? I mean, why would you ever do a debate on MSNBC? Why would you ever let ABC, CBS, or NBC be there unopposed? Why wouldn't you demand that you have, I don't know, Glenn Beck's network doing some of the debates as opposed to MSNBC? They got more viewers. It's just crazy that somehow our side needs to be polite and deferential to their side, but their side can say, do, act, or whatever they want to our side. I'm tired of it.
Well, I can tell you the philosophy of the GOP leadership is that GOP candidates cannot win elections unless they gain support of the center of the road voters and the soft Democrat voters. And so what the Republican organization tries to do is, instead of trying to attract those voters to come to their way of thinking, they try to have candidates that campaign in the middle of the road and to the left of center to try and gain those votes, which was never ever going to work. It's a recipe for disaster, but that's what they're doing. And so now you hear talk about Governor Chris Christie, for example, and they say, well, you know, there's a red state conservative and there's blue state conservatives. No, there's not. Conservatism is conservatism. And you got to serve it up the way it's supposed to be, and you get people to buy in with the right kind of campaign and the right kind of talk, and get people to buy into your way of thinking rather than go to their way of thinking. It's almost like a preacher would want to get sinners to come to the church by going out and acting like them. It doesn't work that way.
General?
Steve, you're right on. You're right square on. Listen, I don't know what the problem is, but I got to tell you, my team, made up of conservatives, seems to be absolutely gutless. And I don't understand what the problem is. You know, you stand up and you take your pounding. You do what you have to do. In combat, in war, you don't stand around and say, well, gee, I wonder what the enemy would do if we sent 3 troops around to the left or a platoon over to the right. Gee, I wonder if I would annoy them. Maybe we would have too many soldiers. Listen, you go up there, you storm the hill, you grab those guys by the throat, and you kill them, and you go on to the next hill.
Well, see, the general's absolutely right, because what the GOP should be doing, they should be taking a military approach. And just imagine, here's an analogy. Imagine if General Patton would have said, gosh, I can't win the war unless I can get some Germans to come over and fight on my side. I mean, that's what the GOP is doing. They're trying to win this war by getting people to come to their side, but the wrong way. They're not gaining support. They're just trying to go to their way of thinking or their way of talk, and they're losing their base in the process.
Let's think back for a minute, folks. Reagan was an unapologetic conservative and didn't give a rat's butt or a rat's Obama. I don't mean to insult rats' butts. Whether or not you agreed or disagreed, you knew where he was. He won in 2 historic landslides. George Herbert Walker Bush, as vice president for Reagan, ran as a continuation of Reagan, and he won, kicked butt. In his second term, he decided to be more centrist. He lost to a nobody, a hilljack, a cigar-toting pervert. Now, Clinton, he was an unapologetic, you know, whatever he was. What do you call him? Dog crap. But he was what he was. And he won. Because the Republicans, instead of trying to run another Reagan, they ran a different kind of dog crap in Bob Dole, a guy who said, I'm not going to even read the platform, much less commit to it. Great. So the Republicans didn't support him. So we ended up with 2 terms of Clinton. Then George W. Bush, he ran as a conservative. He ran as a Christian. He won, barely, because Democrats cheat, and they've gotten better at it. Second time, he won handily against that phony John Kerry. Then what? Why, we decide we're going to run McCain. McCain, who is neither here, nor there, nor anywhere. And we ran him against a guy who we didn't know, who was a leftist piece of squalor, and we got him. So we said, oh, we learned our lesson. We're going to run Romney. Romney's a good man, but he's a moderate. He was for Obamacare before there was Obamacare. So he got more independence. He did everything the pollsters told him to do, and he won. Only problem is 4 million Republicans said, screw you. They didn't vote for him, or he'd have won. So we got more of Obama and his Buick butt wife. I'm sorry, didn't mean to insult Buicks. So now what are we going to do? I don't know. But maybe we're seeing an awakening that says, look, let's have a conservative party. If the Republicans want to be in it, fine. If they don't, fine. Let's stand for something. We're going to win enough to make a difference. There could be 3 parties. We can have the conservative party, the I don't know what the hell I am party, and then the leftist, communist, queer, baby-killing party. And let's see who the American people pick to lead. What do you think, General?
I kind of like it. I shouldn't, but I kind of like it. I kind of like the idea. You know, let me just digress a second. If you take a look at the kind of leadership that we have had in the last 12 years in the Republican Party, the people and the kind of people we've had who are leadership, and good people like Romney. And then I have to put all these things into a war setting because that's what I'm most comfortable with. And you put it in a war setting, you ask yourself, can you picture Romney standing up on a hillside with bullets whizzing all around him, looking at soldiers cowering in foxholes and saying, okay, USOBs, get out of those foxholes, get up here and get on line beside me and we're going to storm this place. Can you imagine that happening? Because that's what the American people want right now. They want somebody who will take charge and make the right thing happen. And if you get in, you know, the lead follow, get out of the way. And if you get in the way, you get run over.
Well, it couldn't be Christie because he couldn't get out of the foxhole.
Got that right.
Couldn't be Obama. He couldn't put the helmet on straight. He'd have it on backwards for sure.
Got that right.
So, you know, could you see Rand Paul? Could you see Ted Cruz? Could you see Marco Rubio? Could you see Ron Paul? Of course, he's a little old now. But the answer is I don't know who we can see, but I know who we can't see. And sometimes if you know who can't do it, it allows you to at least look for someone who can do it.
Yeah.
Well, the general could do it.
Yeah, let's go get him.
And so could Dr. Keyes. I'm convinced.
Hey, now there's a guy that I would follow anywhere.
Yeah, you know, he may be the guy.
He should be the guy.
I like him.
But of course, he's been crucified for being 3 things. 1, unabashedly pro-God. 2, unabashedly pro-life. 3, unabashedly pro-America. And the people on the left can't stand it.
That's 4 reasons to vote for him.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
All right, now, I must admit, even though I know you guys will not believe this, that I was a bit insensitive. Now tell me you can't believe it.
I can't believe that at all. No.
Can't.
That's just
General,
far-fetched.
You're a terrible liar. But anyway,
I am.
there is now a new measure of those who have everything. It's called a mattress.
What?
And this mattress is a limited edition, made in Britain by Savour, S-A-V-O-I-R, Savour Beds, called the Royal Bed. This mattress is $175,000. Now, that's a pretty good mattress. And they talk about all the features it has. And I said, I believe that Michelle will order 2 of them, 1 for each cheek, because there's nothing that any human being has that she doesn't deserve. Am I being a bit presumptive there, General?
Yes.
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 Where's my support when I need it?
Well, this is definitely a keep up with the Joneses mattress, because you only buy this if you have money you want to just waste. But you know, I was thinking that I've heard of the Sleep Number mattress, but I didn't know it was 6 figures.
Yeah, that's if you got that number, that's quite a number. Now, let's talk about something really good. A member of the United States Congress, Christopher Smith, former member, I believe, from New Jersey, found out, listen to this, that the Chinese authorities had gone into the home of a Chinese woman, 37 years old, grabbed her, dragged her out of her home, dragged her down the street to a place where they kill unborn babies. Because she, at 37, got pregnant and didn't get permission to be pregnant. Now, this is coming to America. They were so busy killing babies, they couldn't get to her. So they put her in a quote-unquote lockup to hold her until they had time to kill her child. This congressman heard about it, was notified, raised all kinds of hell. For whatever reason, the Chinese, not wanting the negativity, allowed this woman to come to America where she had her baby. And people don't have a clue that in China, here in America, we have in the neighborhood of 1.2 million, 1.3 million abortions every year. Do you know how many they do in China?
I don't have a clue, but I would assume it'd be a lot more than that.
52 million abortions a year. The vast majority forced abortion.
You know, this is a subject I shouldn't get into, because I believe that abortion is nothing more than court-sanctioned murder. That's what's happening.
Well, I go a step further. I would tell you it is court and Satan sanctioned murder.
Amen to that.
And anyone, now let me say this so that I can get on a few more Obama lists. That's poop list. If you think it is all right to abort, terminate, murder an unborn child, you are serving Satan. End of story. Put the S on your head, and I will put my foot in your butt. There's no alternative.
No, to me, that's not even discussable. I think you're absolutely right, and I feel exactly the same way.
But you know, also, Stan, this shows that there are many ways to be a hero. And like the General, some people do and don't have either the ability, like the General does, or the opportunity to go out and actually physically save a life. Some on the battlefield, like the General. We had the story about the man who caught the child off that dove off of the building, and he caught her in his arms and saved her. You know, but here's a case where someone just got vigorously active with their office, with their ability to write and make phone calls and emails, and save this little baby's life. So all of those people deserve the status of hero, even though this man didn't actually do it on the battlefield.
Now,
Amen.
Let me talk to you about a baby. The baby's name is Chloe. I have a picture of this child. It can be found on LifeSite News, LifeSitenews.com. This baby, Chloe, as cute as a button, has not one, not 10, but hundreds of couples saying, please, 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 let us adopt Chloe. Now, do you know where they found Chloe?
In the Garbage can.
in a dumpster, inside a garbage bag. Now, without condemning the person that put her there, although I do condemn that person, but I don't know the panic and the maturity level and all those things. But we have, the general, the chief and I, as strong as we are, we have allowed it to become acceptable to say what you do with the child in your womb is up to you. That has been a titanic failure. That we have gotten to the place in our society that people don't care what happens to that baby in, frankly, or out of the womb. Because then they're saying, well, if this person, older girl, younger girl, white, black, pink, purple, green, polka dot, poor, rich, mentally astute and alert or challenged, that if they feel whatever they feel, that if they want to kill that child or throw that child away, we shouldn't condemn them. I disagree. We as a society have to say every child must be given the right to life. I didn't come up with that statement, by the way. Our founding fathers did. General?
In 1973, Roe versus Wade was passed by the Supreme Court. And Roe versus Wade is based on the same logic that the Dred Scott decision was based on. And Roe versus Wade said essentially, babies are part of the mother. And because they are part of the mother, the unborn babies, the mother has a right to make the decision of life and death with that child. Since then, we've discovered something called DNA. And we now know that under no condition is a child ever going to be a part of a mother's personal life. And so the Dred Scott decision said slaves are private property, and if you're a property owner, you can do and dispose of that slave any way you want to. And Roe versus Wade says babies are private, unborn babies are private property of women, and the women who have those unborn babies in their wombs have the right to do anything they want with them. Well, we're now past that. We now know that they are not property, they are not part of the womb. And I maintain if you cannot protect and will not, if society will not protect a baby in the security of the mother's womb, that same society will not protect that baby years later when it's walking down the street in some neighborhood.
Well said, Chief.
Well, the Supreme Court has made many decisions that are not constitutional. As the General just mentioned, the Dred Scott decision, and actually because of decisions like that, the Civil War was started. But the Constitution plainly says that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with rights. And as the General just alluded to, unborn babies have their own DNA, it's life at conception, and so according to, in the United States, according to our founding documents, the Declaration of Independence, all Americans are guaranteed the very first thing is life. And it's our duty as a country and as a people to support and sustain and protect that life as guaranteed by God and the Constitution.
General, we thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you back in a couple of weeks. A closing thought.
First of all, I'll try to be on time.
I wouldn't have said a word. You never. I've learned, even though I was not in the military, my son was, you do not question a superior officer.
Correct. That's true.
Tell your son amen. I agree with that.
Me too.
No, everything is wonderful. Listen, I love the show. We talked about the right things tonight, and I pray that we have another good one 2 weeks from now.
Thank you, sir. It's been a privilege always to be in conversation with you. We thank you for your service to our country, and if possible, I would like you to become the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and preside over the trial of Barack Hussein Obama for impersonating an intelligent life form poorly.
I can do that.
Okay.
Great.
Good night, sir. Good night, America. Good night, Chief. And thanks, folks, for being part of the show.
Good night.